What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. What day is it? April 27th.
Hello, Jacob.
Exciting times in Top Shot universe. We've got a great new pre-registration system that we're rolling out today. I'm excited to get you all a base set pack by the end of the week. And we'll obviously discuss more details about why we're going this approach. But yeah, just generally really excited to be here. Thank you all for taking some time out of your day to join us here. Always fun to connect with the community, and I know we've got some great questions that need some answers. So excited to kind of dive into that. In the meantime, I'll give it another minute or two. Let some more people jump in. Let's see, we've got a good, healthy audience already, but give it a couple more minutes. I might even put out an announcement, just letting people know that we are in here, ready to go. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. We should we'll very quickly touch base while we're waiting on people about the fact that the Knicks are in fourth. Is that right?
Yeah, don't jinx me here, Daniel. Don't jinx me here, but we're looking pretty good. Last night was a tough loss, but that's why they call Chris Paul the point god. He is something else. And he doesn't seem to age.
Well, I'm sitting here with the Raptors in 12th, so I wish you luck. Obviously, I would prefer that to be Raptors luck, but
hey, you've had enough success over the last 8 years that you're kind of due for 20 years of purgatory like the Knicks have been in.
It's true, but we pretty much had 20 years of no success before that.
That's also true, yeah. And not to mention Canada's history with basketball outside of Toronto, of course. Losing the Grizzlies to the great city of Memphis, crushing blow, but I don't know if there are grizzly bears in Memphis. I'm surprised they didn't, in hindsight, change the name to something. Maybe
I feel like it's not as big an export, but
yeah,
the Memphis Jazz would have made sense, but it's already taken.
Yeah, or the Memphis Blues. That's also taken in another sport.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you let me know when you're ready to go, and we can dig into some questions.
We are ready. I just put out an announcement in the announcement channel. So we'll start to see more people jump in. But in the meantime, Daniel, does this mean you'll be moderating for us today?
Ooh, maybe. I guess that's the case. I'm here. I'm talking. I'm ready to go, and excited to do it.
Excited to do it with you. All right, hit me with your best shot.
Sure. Well, before we dig right into the questions, I figure, we'll talk briefly about the pre-registration base set. So now we've got that live. That's a new feature. What are you excited about with that?
Yeah. Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity to explain. I'm excited about 3 or 4 different things about it, but I'll circle on the 2 that I'm most excited about. And number 1 is just from a very tactical standpoint. When we've done pre-orders in the past, what's happened historically is we deliver those packs to pretty much everyone in a very concentrated, amount of time, be it a couple of hours or a few hours. And what tends to happen is when hundreds of thousands of collectors are given a pack or delivered their pack in such a concentrated amount of time, and they all open the pack at the same time, that tends to lead to a lot of site issues. So what this will do is it will throttle the number of people opening packs because they're all going through a queue together, right? So on a very kind of holistic level, the pre-registration to get access to a pack is going to create a much smoother collector experience upon getting the pack. And one thing I really want to highlight to the community is there are times when we as a collective group have to weigh doing something that might be a little riskier for the product versus doing something that will deliver the best collector experience. And we're always trying to kind of meet at the inflection point of those two ideas. But sometimes we do have to compromise what will be best for the collector experience to ensure the product is in tip-top shape. Because what happens when we send everyone a pack at the same time and the site crashes, there's the very real kind of opportunity cost that our engineers have to divert attention away from productive kind of time building new features that we're really excited about, and spending that time, reallocating that time, fixing problems that we kind of self-inflicted. So we're constantly evaluating ways that we can continuously bring joy to our collectors without necessarily leading our engineers into kind of the trenches of trying to repair things that are only breaking because of sheer overwhelming demand at the time. So that's not kind of our long-term solve, but in the short term, while we're in beta, figuring out ways to better accommodate those two kind of priorities at the same time, that is giving collectors a great experience while also being able to keep the site running smoothly so our engineers can continue to work on the awesome features we have forthcoming. That's kind of what our dream scenario is. And we think that this pre-registration will really set the stage well for kind of the best of both worlds. And now the second layer to why I'm excited about pre-registration is way more kind of way less interesting perhaps to the community, but something that I think, just to give you all a peek under the hood of what our thought process is. In the past, when we've done pre-orders and we determine that there are multi-accounters that have gotten through on the pre-order, we have to, refund them on their purchases. And that's operational time that our team has to divert away from, better things to kind of smooth out the abusers of our platform and ensure that, we're not stealing money from them. Our ideal is that no one is multi-accounting and that we don't have to do any deduplication or kind of examine who's trying to register so that we don't have to send money back. But, reality is collectors are going to try to game the system at times. So in this instance, what we're able to do is we're able to front load the examination period. So everyone that's registering, we're going to be able to identify before the queue even opens, before they ever pay a dime on their packs. We're going to be able to ensure that only kind of one pack will go to one collector, and that there's no kind of back and forth with our team refunding and worrying about kind of the customer experience on multi-accounters in particular. So, on a bunch of levels, we're still just getting started with our experimentation. But those are the things that I think this pre-registration will accomplish, at least in the short term. And then long term, we look at this as potentially a blueprint for a lot of different ways to get packs into collectors' hands, be it new collectors that we can vet as legitimate, be it collectors that may have missed out on a drop or a rebound pack, but still want to get packs this week. There are so many different use cases, but I'm just really excited about how quickly it's come together, and the fact that come Thursday, we're going to have a queue of hopefully hundreds of thousands of collectors, and hopefully not all of them try to join the queue at the exact same time, because you are going to have about 30 hours to get into the queue and purchase your pack. And as we saw last pre-order experience, everyone does tend to get in at the same time, and it leads to a really long waiting period, but there is no need, right? You're going to be able to get a pack at any point in that 30-hour window. So I'm just really excited. And that's kind of what we were stress testing a bit yesterday. One of a handful of things we were stress testing yesterday was just what's the right speed of a queue that ensures we don't have to, as a collective group, babysit the whole time, because for a 30-hour queue, obviously, that would get quite demanding to be babysitting at all hours of the day. Now, granted, we will have people monitoring and checking through, but we're excited about the potential opportunity of having a queue that's just up for 30 hours. And you, as a collector, as long as you pre-register, you're going to be able to enter that queue at any given time.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that. I'm quite excited to see the progress. I think going from 2 weeks on a pre-order delivery to just a couple of days is a massive improvement. And I think a lot of people are going to be happy with that process. Now, touching base on something you said at the end there, you were mentioning the recent stress tests. And one of our questions was, is there any additional information on what has been being tested lately behind the scenes with the recent stress test?
Yeah, so yesterday's stress test, again, touched on a little bit of just what's the right flow for us, no pun intended, what's the right output for us with a queue to ensure that we're not going to have to be constantly tinkering with speeds over the course of 30 hours. Last week's stress test, we were testing kind of a new feature around the checkout process with Dapper. And, a minute into the stress test, we were able to verify that it worked and that it was successful. But of course, at that point, the queue was already filled up. So it didn't make sense making a large commotion about the stress test. But yeah, I think we're tinkering constantly, and there will continue to be tinkerings. When it comes to stress tests in general, we're cautioning, and I think a lot of the community here, some of the more kind of veteran collectors will remember the days where a stress test legitimately meant like we have less than 50% confidence that it will work. So now I think perception might be shifting a bit, where there's more confidence in the community that these stress tests will be successful. I would still kind of caution and say there are going to be stress tests that we do over the next month, 2 months, 3 months that are legitimately like we have minimal confidence that it will succeed. And the reason why we need to do that is for all of you to get awesome features long term that will make your collecting experience better. So again, I think in the scheme of things, we're making really great strides, but there's still a lot to do, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just so everyone understands, the stress tests, we're always trying to test new things. And sometimes it might be making the payments better. And we know it can be stressful because a lot of things can break, and you might be in a good position to get a pack, and unfortunately you aren't able to get it. And stress tests might not be for everyone, but understand that, when we're running those, we're doing it because we want to make everything better for you. So, so thanks for that, Jacob. We'll stick with some PAX questions here. We've got a lot of questions about PAX. So let's talk about what is the plan for the season 1 base set moments?
Yeah, we are going to release our plan by the end of the month. So that would give us till Friday. Stay tuned on it. We've said the whole month that it will come at the end of the month. I'm not committing to on Friday. It might come before that, but you will hear from us about the plan by Friday, unless anything changes at the last minute, in which case it would be released early next week, presumably. But my goal is to get it out for the community by Friday.
Perfect. Will there be another series of multiple pack drops, such as the Cool Cat series? And if so, when can we expect it?
Yes, there will be. It will be a common set, and I'm not quite ready to reveal the name of it, but we will be celebrating in this set some of the flashiest plays of the NBA season, but also some of the grittiest plays of the NBA season. The toughest loose balls, players showing a ton of effort on the court. So I'm really excited about that set. Of course, growing up, or not growing up, but in my kind of formative NBA years, when I was covering the league in college, the grid and grind Grizzlies were obviously a huge deal. And I think this set will celebrate, at least partially that kind of grit and grind mentality. And of course, don't extrapolate that out to mean it's going to be a Grizzlies themed set, because that's not the case. But, just
As long as it's the Vancouver Grizzlies.
Yeah, Bryant Reeves making his Top Shot debut. No, I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, it's going to be really cool. And I think not naming names of players that will be in the set, because I don't actually have full confidence, but you all can kind of put two and two together of who are some of the toughest players in the league, and you can safely anticipate that they might have a place in the set.
Is it safe to say that Cool Cat's follow-up is not Dapper Dogs?
Hot dogs. No, it's safe to say that we are not doing a hot dog set. I apologize to all Yukon Husky fans out there that were hoping that we would go into the dog world next, the canine world next.
Well, we've got some good suggestions. We've got junkyard dogs, grit and grind. So, we'll see. All right. So moving on. Has the Dapper team discussed rewarding collectors who have completed each Cool Cats challenge additionally, besides just receiving the LaMelo reward?
There have been some discussions. I don't think you're going to see. Well, let me be careful with my wording. I don't think you're going to see anything, super overwhelming, right, as a collector. But I do think that you will see potentially something celebrating your achievement. And very specifically, that's going to be for the collectors that have done every leg of the challenge, and they're doing it kind of the old-fashioned way, so to speak, rather than acquiring challenge reward moments off the marketplace. Now, a lot of this is speculative. I have not yet gotten it kind of checked off in Sharpie that we're 100% doing it, but we are thinking about ways that we can kind of reward those collectors that go the extra mile to complete the Master Challenge.
Perfect. And for upcoming moments, will there be any moments specifically for milestone achievements, such as Curry becoming the all-time Warriors leading scorer?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm unfortunately not the right person on the team to answer it, but knowing how on top of things our team is, I wouldn't be shocked if we were able to get a Curry record-setting moment at some point.
Perfect. Let's see what else we have. We got a couple more PAX questions here. Will owning a set be a requirement for a future drop?
I can't confirm nor deny on that. We have not had that conversation in earnest recently. We are, as I've mentioned in Friday's office hours, and we'll reiterate here, we are looking towards something like a collector score as a long-term heuristic to determine whether someone's eligible for a drop or not. And it is very possible that completing a set might help boost your collector score quite a bit. So, no certainty, and I don't want to misrepresent that, but I do think long-term we are looking at a metric that helps determine eligibility for these drops that moves dynamically. If a collector sells, their score might go down. If a collector acquires, their score might go up. And no telling, because I frankly don't know whether completing a set will lead to an amplified boost in your collector score. We'll figure that out when closer to rolling it out.
Yeah, do we have a general timeline? Is that a few months down the road? Is that soonish?
I would, when we're talking about timelines, so many different kind of things come up and other things take priority. I would say pretty confidently that we are starting to scope it out. Now, understand, like, as a marketing community guy, I'm very much not the person to ask around how long something will take to build. My understanding is that we're quite confident that we can scope it out and build it for sure in the year 2021. My guess is that we're closer to a few months away or a couple of months away than it being released next week.
Excellent. So next question here. Are there plans to allow offline access for individual moments data?
That's a good one.
Bit of a complicated one there.
Yeah, I honestly, I feel like I'm being disappointing with some of the answers, but as always, I'm trying to definitely be conservative with what I share, knowing when I don't know the answer that it's only damaging if I give the wrong answer. So I'm gonna defer to that one because I'm not positive. I do know that long term our goal is for you to be able to access your moments off of NBA Top Shot, be it on Vive Marketplace or elsewhere, Blockdo, just to name a few. So yeah, I would say it's certainly possible, and long term our goal is to not be kind of a centralized location for your moments.
Perfect. Yeah, I know we're still working on figuring all that out, and we obviously believe a lot in decentralization, and we will continue to make progress on that. So I had one good question that popped up, and I want to touch on it while it's fresh in my view. But are we looking at more ways to allow people to organize their moments, more tools for collectors, sorting functions, dragging and drop, things like that?
Yeah, it's on our radar, and I would say 100% it's inevitably going to happen. I would also say just knowing all of the other stuff that we've got going on and all the other tools we're building, it's not at the top of our list for what will come next. But with that being said, I am sure that we will build something um, fairly soonish in the scheme of Top Shot.
Excellent. And we've got a couple more quick pack questions, and then we'll be moving on. First question is, do you know what happened to the release 27 for the base set?
Yeah, I think we're still planning to release it. I've been joking a little bit with people on Twitter that we're going to make a 30 for 30 about it. No, I don't think there's anything particularly special about release 27 other than what happened was we had released number 26, and then we had release 27 ready to go, and then we realized that there were going to be about 80,000 collectors that were eligible for a rebound pack, and we wanted to ensure every collector would get a rebound pack in association with the holo icon drop. So we created release 28 to accommodate that size. So 82,000 or so. And I think we just went on to 29 after that. But there will come a time when 27 gets kind of reintegrated in. It's only a matter of time.
Perfect. And then one final question about packs. Is there a chance of a play-in tournament set this year during the playoffs?
That's a really interesting idea. And we have kind of acknowledged how unique the play-in tournament is. I don't think it would be specific to the play-in tournament as much as moments from the play-in games might end up in a playoff set down the road. So it would be a kind of an all-encompassing set from the playoffs.
Perfect. So let's move on to some marketplace questions. We all love the marketplace. Lots been going on lately. Are there plans to have a watch list feature available soon?
Yeah, I would put this in the same kind of category as reordering the moments in your collection. Like again, it's something that we know the community wants it, and we know we will build it eventually. timeline on it, like many of the other things we're talking about, remains to be seen. And I would say, that's something that I envision happening in the year 2021, but I don't know if that's next month or if that's in 4 months or if that's in 6 months, right? So, any features that we have not yet publicly kind of committed to releasing anytime soon, you can safely anticipate that they, likely are on our list of things to get to at some point.
So it's safe to say the priority right now is get everything where we want it, and once we're comfortable with where things are, we'll start seeing a lot more of those customization options and additional features.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think right now, building features, building tools, building an experience that, I think today the pre-registration as a good example of really, really makes a big impact in the community, right? People are going to be able to get packs. Some who have never been able to get a pack will be able to get a pack. We'll still hear about the people that say they never could get packs. But that's just me being snarky. No, I think, like, generally speaking, right now there are so many things that we could do to improve the collector experience. In as far as building functionality and building tools that ensure that people can get more packs and constantly collect with more excitement. Um, the cosmetic fixes, be it kind of reordering how your collection looks or a watch list. There are third-party tools on the watch list side that I'm aware of that might be able to serve that function, and then I think it's only a matter of time before we build those in product ourselves.
Perfect. So, are there any updates, or I guess, how would you say we've received a bit of uh, feedback about the randomized serial number order on low asks in the marketplace? Is this something that you think has gone quite well? Is it something that's temporary? How do you feel about it?
Yeah. So to be clear with everyone in the community, the idea around that was when we make it super easy for every collector to see the exact same low price and low serial and identify the best deal for a specific moment, that leads to hundreds, if not thousands, of collectors trying to purchase at the exact same time, leading to 99% of collectors having a frustrating experience. So, making it a little bit harder to identify those diamonds in the rough, in theory, makes it a better experience for everyone, just because it mitigates the chances of the purchase failure error we've seen. Um, so, yeah, just putting it that way, I think, like, when we're weighing these balances, and I think there is a little bit of a misperception in the community, perhaps, that if not for bots, then you would have gotten the great deal. The reality is that we know that botting on Top Shot is very, very few and far between at this point. And the reality is just collectors think alike. Collectors have similar mindsets. Collectors want to get the same types of moments, and they see a good deal and they're all going to pursue that deal at the same time. So, making collectors kind of, what's the right way to phrase it? Find those diamonds in the rough, take an extra minute to sort through. That's going to kind of lead to positive opportunity.
For sure. And I think there's some opportunity there where, we've talked a lot about customization today, and something where we might be able to provide in the future an avenue for users to be able to turn that off. So maybe they prefer seeing things in that serialized order for low ask. We'll give them that option. That's something I would like to see happen. I obviously cannot say if that's going to happen, but I think that's something we could consider.
Yeah, for sure. I'm super, like, I think, Daniel, as you know, our team is super open-minded to community feedback, and we'll take all of it into account.
Absolutely. So when will we see the buying and selling of packs available on the marketplace?
Yeah, this is one that, we're excited about. I would anticipate, sometime this summer, maybe. I don't have a firm timeline. I don't know how far along in kind of the scoping we are. But I do think, it's something that we've committed to and are aware that a lot of community members have been reserving packs for that very opportunity long term. So by reserving, I mean holding on, I should say. So I don't know. I feel pretty good about our chances of releasing something by the summer. But I also know that there are other priorities slightly ahead of it in the pecking order.
Absolutely. No, and I think it will be good. I think it will create a bit of a unique opportunity for collectors to decide if they should or shouldn't open those packs, and that makes the economy more engaging as well.
Absolutely.
So when we're deciding on what moments to put into challenges, do we take into consideration, rumors or marketplace transactions or the value of those moments on the marketplace?
Let me take that in the three stages. So yeah, we definitely look at the value moments, in part because they're the Fred Van Vliet Cool Cats challenge going on right now. If you're a big Fred Van Vliet fan, it's a fairly affordable challenge. And by fairly, I should probably rephrase to say relatively affordable. And then there are going to be other challenges that are more expensive, be it the Luka or be it the Giannis. Okay, I see.
You were cutting out a little bit at the start of that.
Okay, let me rephrase, or let me restate, I should say. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, just to restate, when we're looking at which moment should go into a challenge, we're looking specifically at market values, and we're trying to make certain challenges affordable and accessible to our community. So we do look at that. On the other front, we don't really buy into the rumors or the gossip of the community when it comes to challenges. We map out our challenges in advance and have a great team of NBA diehard fans that can come up with compelling themes, such as with the Cool Cats, Fred Van Vliet. The 5 players you need to collect are all undrafted players like Fred. When it comes to the data around which moments are getting interacted and traded highly with high frequency, I'm not, again, so I don't want to speak out of turn. I'm not positive either way. I would anticipate that we do some monitoring of that. So we're not going to be necessarily featuring moments that are the most traded or considered the least collectible. We don't want to leave collectors into a situation where they're acquiring a moment and the challenge expires and the moment depreciates completely. But yeah, I think that covers the gambit of the questions. The one that I think is most important to clarify to the collectors in our community is we're not just thoughtlessly and haphazardly putting these challenges together. There is a lot of consideration on a multitude of levels, specifically tying to theme and accessibility of the challenge.
And from my end, I'd just like to add that I really liked seeing more utility being given to some older moments coming into play here. And I guess to follow up with that, do we see the potential for challenges including initial Series 1 base set moments at any point?
Yeah, it's all fair game and it's all on the table. But no, I'm not positive about when a Series 1 moment might appear in a challenge next, but it will happen at some point. I feel quite confident about that.
Perfect. And then one more on challenges. are we expecting a Cool Cat 6 challenge anytime soon?
Soon in the relative scheme of things. I can't speak to exact timeline. I think as soon as the Fred Van Vliet challenge ends, we already have the moments in mind of what will come next, but I can't confirm nor deny whether it will take place immediately after Cool Cats 5 expires or if it will take some more time afterward.
Perfect. So let's move on to some other questions. We've talked a lot about packs, a lot about the marketplace. Let's talk about the favorite topic. Let's just quickly touch base on Canada and UK withdrawals. How's that coming along?
Yeah, the last I've heard from our engineers on the Dapper side are, end of this month or first week of May is still kind of a timeline that we should anticipate. It's in QA testing, and we're excited about it. Daniel, before we jump into the next question, I just want to. I'm getting blown up in my DMs on Twitter, and I just want to kind of set the record straight. When we talk about potentially rewarding collectors who completed each individual stage of the Cool Cats Challenge, I want to be explicitly clear that we have not committed or set on doing that ourselves. That's something that we're considering. And secondly, that won't manifest itself in, an additional moment or a pack or anything. It will be something kind of unique and special, but it won't have a material value in our marketplace. So I'm going to keep it vague, but I just want to kind of cool the tensions of people who are maybe DMing me very upset about that. Just to make it clear that we're not planning on doing something. Yeah. I think Webhead in office hours chat is reiterating the key quote. There's no material value to that celebration.
Perfect. Appreciate the clarification there. So let's talk a little bit about hardcourt. Will serial numbers, badges, and moment rarity come into play in the hardcourt game? Do you know?
Serial number, badges, and moment rarity. Well, I know that tiers are going to play a role in the game for sure. So if you have a common moment or a rare moment, the rare moment is going to be more advantageous. Similarly, a legendary moment will be more advantageous than a rare. I think we're still doing exploration of how to reward collectors that are passionate about, collecting specific serial numbers or collecting certain types of moments, be it a three-pointer or be it a dunk or be it a steal. But to answer the question more directly, I don't have full kind of certainty about how deep down that rabbit hole of kind of Easter eggs between moments we are going to go when it comes to that stuff.
Perfect. I mean, I think we're still in the very early stages of hardcourt, and we won't have a lot of answers in the near future, but down the road we'll be able to provide a lot more information to everyone. Is there any timeline for when showcases will be fixed so the moments play in the correct order?
It's been flagged to our team. I don't have a timeline, but it is something that we will work on and correct, presumably before our next showcase contest. But I can't guarantee it will happen by the end of this one.
Perfect. Are there plans to release any WNBA moments during the upcoming season?
Upcoming, be it being
Let's say
kind of this
next
upcoming.
season.
Yeah, I think it's on our map and on our radar and something we hope to do. It's proven to be slightly more of a technical lift than we were hoping. And we will do it at some point. But when we're kind of choosing what we can tackle next, it was either trying to integrate the WNBA or trying to improve some core features to the collector experience. And I can't stress enough how excited I am to one day own a Sue Bird moment. But I would anticipate that's closer to maybe next season series. I don't want to put a number on what series we'll be in, but yeah, next season I think is what we're looking at.
I'm very excited to see those as well. So for May, is there anything you feel you can tease? Any, rare legendary stuff or any new features that might be coming down the pipeline?
Yeah, let me give me a second to think about what we have coming soon that we can maybe tease. So I think we're really excited about this pre-registration and potentially doing that many times if it seems to be successful and the community responds well to it. I think we have plans for a rare drop in May that will be a set that we've already done in Series 1. So I'll let the kind of community speculate on what set that might be. But actually, let me give it a second.
Sure.
I wonder if the community would rather speculate or whether I should just share what the plan is. Can we get some comments in the office hours chat to share your thought?
Some very aggressive sharing.
All right, we have enough shares. We have enough shares. All right.
We should have seen that coming.
Yeah, the plan is to do throwdowns, a throwdown set in May at some point, and it will be rare like last year. No idea about edition size, but presumably a larger edition size than Series 1's throwdown set.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about what the throwdown set is for people that may not have been around or as familiar with it from Series 1?
Sure. They're the best dunks from the year, or among the best dunks from the year. So, you can think about last year we had, in particular, a really epic DeMar DeRozan challenge award that was a throwdown. And we had a really nice Jeremy Grant dunk, Jaren Jackson Jr. dunk. So I don't want to name the players, but seeing a lot of comments about a specific one or two that are great dunkers. Wouldn't be shocked if they made their way into it. But yeah, it will be a collection of some of the best dunks from the 2021 season. The reason I say some is because some of the best dunks have already made it to Top Shot, right? Like the Anthony Edwards Challenge Award, one of the best dunks of the year, if not the dunk of the year. So, I'll leave it at that, but that's something to tease out. As I mentioned, we're going to have another common set that we release that we're really excited about around kind of flashiness and grittiness. And what else? As I've said before, we'll repeat again. We are planning to do one more hollow icon drop. We're planning to do a legendary set for the NBA playoffs at some point. No details about when that will hit. Obviously, it won't hit till at least the playoffs because the moments haven't yet happened. We're still contemplating a legendary set around rookies. We've already done a Rising Stars rare set, which included many of the top rookies. So we won't do a rookie debut set as a rare set this year. And our legendary rookie set, if we are able to pull it off, which I want to reemphasize is not confirmed, and we're looking at about 50-50 chance that the calendar allows for it, that set would not be called rookie debut. That would be called something else.
Any chance of a run it back coming down at some point?
Run it backs we're looking at for the off season at this point. just because we have so many more great moments from this season that we want to release. And we've got, the playoffs coming up in 3 weeks. So I've got a lot of ground to cover in that time. But yeah, I understand the excitement around Run It Back, and there are 100% plans to do Run It Backs as soon as, the season is over.
Perfect. So we've got our badges now, and I think the badges have been a pretty good success. Now, I know we want to be careful with not doing too many different types of badges, but are there any types of badges that you would have interest in seeing, or that we might be considering?
Yeah, maybe like a Jacob's favorite player badge for the day we get a Pablo Prigioni moment on Top Shot. No,
Yes, the one everybody had been clamoring for.
That's the one, yeah. No, I mean, when it comes down to it, like, I think we're going to revisit badges probably closer to the off season. We can always retroactively add a badge to a moment. But as we've done with rookie and Top Shot debut moments, of course. But those conversations, we knew that releasing badges would lead to speculation and questions about which badges come next. But the sheer reality is that we're working on so many other things right now that what badges we release next are kind of iceboxed until the off season.
Is there any rough timeline of when we can expect to see some new certified ballers, or possibly what players may be next?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a really exciting, I guess, last 2 weeks, adding Paul George to the list, adding Karl Anthony Towns to the list. And I know that sets kind of a precedent that everyone's expecting X, Y, and Z superstars next. But, in a given week, like, we're still getting interest from new players. PJ Washington just signed up last week. Shout out to him. He's about to have a baby, so very excited for him. Al-Farouq Aminu recently joined. As I talk right now, there are a handful of retired players that we're looking forward to getting into the mix. Some NBA champions, some consummate pros that played for a bunch of teams in their careers. Just today, I've talked to 4 different players, only one of whom is active. None of whom are, superstars, but lots of even casual NBA fans will know most of them, if not all of them. The one active player that we talked to today does not yet have a moment and is a rookie that I was very, very high on college last year. So you can do some deep digging of the internet to try to find which college players I was particularly high on. But yeah, I mean, more players are coming out each and every day. And I think what we're seeing is word of mouth is really powerful here. So we give a product tour to one player, and they slowly but surely tell their friends, and it leads to kind of a frenzy. So what I can say, sorry to interrupt, Daniel. What I can say with a lot of kind of excitement as a Knicks fan is I've been talking to a lot of former Knicks, and one of the former Knicks who I've talked to that has an account on Top Shot now, they don't have a moment yet, but they will at some point, I'd imagine, is Jeremy Lin. So really excited about, what Linsanity moments could look like. Now, my guess is we're probably at least a year away or a few years away from Linsanity moments making it to Top Shot. But, that's just a taste of a player I've talked to, and certainly some others,
Well, I think as a Raptors fan and you as a Knicks fan, I think that's finally some common ground with Jeremy Lin.
Yeah. Of course, Jeremy, one of one of Jeremy's greatest moments happened against your Raptors with the game winner on Valentine's Day, that I was volunteering for the student activity committee that night and missed the game. And it was one of my biggest regrets of college.
Any consideration around putting challenge moment rewards into packs instead of just sending the moment to the account?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, sorry. Any consideration around putting the challenge moment rewards into a pack instead of just sending the moment to the account? So it would be delivered similarly to how we did the gift.
Right. Yeah. I think I said this last week, and we'll repeat here. I'm excited about that down the road. I think our team will look into how feasible that is. I think it leads to a lot more gamification of the challenges, right? Because you could theoretically keep your challenge reward pack unopened, and then when the marketplace for packs kind of emerges, you'll be able to list those packs on the marketplace in theory. But yeah, I don't have a timeline. I can't even say for certain it is happening. I understand the excitement in the community about that type of idea, and will advocate on the community's behalf for that feature. But no timeline on it.
And are there any thoughts on limiting the number of moments per player in a series? So for example, LeBron James or any player, maybe we only allow for 4 or 5 moments, so that we aren't doing too many moments of a single player.
Yeah, what I think we're still in beta, and eye rolls, I get it. But when I think of series 2, this was like the first full regular season we had the opportunity to work on, right? So I think we're gaining learnings. One thing that I can say with certainty is that it's in everyone's best interest as far as building goodwill, building trust, building collector confidence, to be able to give the community a heads up around strategy and planning as early as possible in the scheme of things, right? So when it comes to capping at a certain number, we didn't go into this season with that mindset. So I think it would be more dangerous for us to try to do that on the fly mid-season. What I will say with confidence is that we're going to be cognizant of kind of which players have gotten a lot of moments, and we're going to try our best to, not force things that aren't there. Now with the player, you mentioned LeBron, so I'll just use him as the example. You can safely anticipate that the Lakers are going to be a strong contender, and the farther in the playoffs they go, the more chances there will be for LeBron moments to make it to Top Shot. So that's to say, if LeBron has an epic moment in the first round, or say the Lakers for inexplicable reasons end up in the play-in game and he has a sick moment in the play-in game, because we feature a moment of LeBron from the play-in game or from the first round, that doesn't mean that we're not going to feature a moment from him at a later round. So I don't want to kind of commit to a cap on a certain moment or a certain player. What I will say, though, is long-term, with next regular season, maybe we can map out ahead of time our general strategy and figure out ways to give collectors a little bit more context around how many of a player's moment we're looking at or theoretically considering as an upper bound, and how many of those would be commons, how many of those would be rares, and how many of those would be legendaries. But I think for collectors here that are trying to kind of figure out the best way to go about collecting, specifically for players that are going deep into the playoffs or are on teams that project to go deep in the playoffs, I just want full clarity and transparency there, that it's possible that they have, epic moments in many, many games. And, we're going to be conscientious and not try to overdo it. But it doesn't behoove us to put a cap and then we get to the conference finals and they have the best moment of their career and all of a sudden we can't use it, right? So we'll be careful and consider it and understand that. And on that note, one thing that as far as just communicating ahead of time and being transparent, and this is breaking news as of today, maybe not breaking news, and that might be alarmist and create headlines, but one thing that we discussed as a collective group today was kind of run it back as a long-term thing. And the idea is if we go, there will at some point be historic moments that make it into the base set. Now, those moments won't be run it backs necessarily. They'll be more common moments that have a higher edition size. But there is a world in which, just using 2013 and 2014 as our context, because that was our only run it back to date, there is a world in which we have base set moments from the 2013-14 season involving some of the players that made it into the run it back set. So there's a possibility that another Giannis rookie moment makes it to Top Shot. Of course, that rookie moment would have a much bigger edition size than the run it back Giannis rookie that has already made it. So, I just want to give that context, and that's not singling out Giannis. That applies to Dennis Schroeder or Victor Oladipo or Steven Adams, or Rudy Gobert didn't make it into the run it back set, but he was a rookie that season as well. So there's a ton of kind of ground to cover there. I realistically am not thinking that we're going to be doing much around 2013 in the near future. As I mentioned, we're going to the run it back stuff in the off season. I don't have full visibility nor clarity on whether 2013 will be within the scope of the run it backs that we're bringing out. But what I can say with certainty is there won't be more run it back Giannis moments from 2013-14 season. If we do go to the archives of 2013-14 again and include players from that set, they'll be as base set moments and not as rare run it back.
Well, I'll be all over the Wilt Chamberlain moments when those happen.
Yeah, George Mikan coming soon.
So we'll get close to wrapping up here. We'll go with a couple more. So this question here, a lot of people have noticed on the site that there's a bit of a terminology change with my moments. Have we done any sort of trademarking? Is anything going on there?
Yeah. So I don't know kind of the legal terminology. What I can say with confidence is that it's something that we are trying to work toward. Moments collectibles. That's something that we're working toward getting the trademark on. And frankly, I'm not a lawyer and I'd be only speculating on where we're at in that conversation. But my understanding of it is we need to term them as moment collectibles, similar to how you can't trademark a car, but you can say a Cadillac car and you could trademark the Cadillac word, right? So that's kind of the angle we're going for.
Perfect. So we can't really clarify it at this point, and we'll maybe be able to clarify it at a later date.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, last question, and this comes to us from it says Usman, I believe is his name. It says Jacob,
the MMA fighter.
Yeah, I believe it's the MMA fighter. I'm not sure. I mean, it seems a little coincidental that Usman left, and then there's this MMA thing going on. I'm pretty sure it's the same person, but can't confirm or deny. So his question is, it's no secret that the Knicks are on an absolute tear. Do you have any free agents you'd like for them to target once they win the championship this season? Wow. That's optimistic.
Man, you're too kind to me, Usman. No, I think it's a great question. The latest I heard, there are 4 free agents that the Knicks are targeting as kind of their top free agents that they want to target, for lack of a better word. And those 4 are Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, and who's the Norm Powell. So 3 Raptors, 3 former Raptors.
I see what's happening.
2 former Raptors, 1. So yeah, we want I've heard we want to pursue those four: Norm Powell, Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, and Kyle Lowry. The fifth name that I would throw out there that I would love to see the Knicks pursue in earnest is Duncan Robinson. And that's not just because he did a Top Shot giveaway last week. I genuinely think he'd be a great fit on the team. But yeah, I think of those names, Lowry makes a lot of sense to me. Lonzo makes a lot of sense to me. Norm Powell fits with pretty much any team. And DeRozan, depending on what we do with Derrick Rose, who's becoming a free agent, could or could not make sense. But yeah, very excited about the Knicks' future for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get a bunch of Raptors on that team, it'll easily improve the Knicks, and that's what we want to see, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's everything. Obviously, there were a few more questions we couldn't get to, but appreciate you joining us as always and giving us as much information as possible. And for people that came in later, it'll be up on YouTube later as well.
Yeah, and also just want to give a shout out to our newest community reps, JP, Luke, and Brad. They've been all-stars in the community for a while now, and it's just super exciting to have them on board to, join the fun that is our community from our end. So yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I kind of blew his cover. But yeah, just really excited to have those members on our team. So I got to run, but thank you all for taking some time out of your day, and looking forward to chatting with you all on Friday.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.